Welcome everyone to my SH Figuarts comparison for the Captain Marvel collection, as Bandai Tomodachi have given us 3 versions of Carol Danvers based on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So the one in the middle is for the latest Phase 5 movie, The Marvels, and I'm going to be comparing it with the one on the left for the first movie, Captain Marvel, and the one on the right for the film Avengers Endgame. So I'm going to go through the overall head sculpt, the look of the suit, all the accessories, do some head swaps, and of course give you my verdict on which one is my favorite. So let's start off with the packaging. So the first 2 releases came in the standard smaller size box due to lesser accessories. And you do notice that both of them do not have a front photo of Captain Marvel. But in terms of the theme and colors, it does match up with the movie. For the first release, the first film, we do have a shot of Captain Marvel on the side. But for the Avengers Endgame ones, all the characters in fact did not show the picture. And then if we compare it to the latest release, the Marvels, you can see the size of the box is a lot bigger due to more accessories. And once again, really well presented to match the theme of the film. So here is once again the Captain Marvel collection together, standing side by side. So from left to right, we have the first solo movie, Captain Marvel. Then it's the latest, The Marvels. And then the team-up movie, Avengers Endgame. So all 3 of them do have their own unique style to Carol Danvers from the movies. And I think it is represented really well. But at the same time, it is quite similar. Primarily the colors with the reds, the blues, and the gold symbol in the middle. In terms of the height, they are quite similar as well. Of course, the differences mainly is the hairstyle. She does have the change up look over the years. So let's first take a look at the first release, which is probably the shiniest. You can see the blues and the reds pop a lot more as a display. And overall, I'd say that this is probably my favorite suit out of all of them. It's just more of that classic look. And of course, for the head sculpt, even though it's not the best accuracy, you do have the nice bright colors to the hair color, which is accurate to the film. I know in the past they have done some pretty good face sculpts for their live action MCU, but for some reason this one they just couldn't really get it right. And then for the Avengers Endgame, of course you can see the main thing is the hairstyle has been changed to a shorter one, which is accurate to the movie. But at the same time, the face sculpt once again isn't the best. They should have really improved on it. But in terms of the actual costume, it's actually a pretty nice design. You can see that the colors have been reversed from the blues and the reds. And this time she has this kind of extra tire in the waist area. And then of course the latest one, which in my opinion is the best head sculpt. They've definitely improved on the look of Brie Larson. And of course the hairstyle is different this time. It's swooped to one side, which I do like. And then in terms of the costume, it is a lot more subtle. It's not as bright and shiny as the other 2. Of course, she has the rolled up sleeves to give her more of that menacing battle look. And overall, I'll say that the proportions of the latest one, the one in the middle, is probably the best one out of them. So it's really personal preference. Of course, head sculpt and more realistic look is the latest one. But some people do, of course, prefer the other 2 simply to match in the collection. Next up, let's take a look at the different accessories by starting off with the interchangeable hands. So all 3 of them out of the packaging have the closed-fisted hands. The first set of alternative hands, all 3 of them have a pair of relaxed palms, with the latest one, the Marvels, with a slightly more spread out fingers. All 3 also include a set of open palms. And this is where the difference kicks in, as the Marvels version includes an extra set of hands, which is for her signature pose. All 3 Captain Marvels also include the flame effects for the hands. Of course, the major difference is for the Endgame version, it is in the blue color compared to the orange, and it's also a lot bigger. But in terms of a display, I would say that the other 2 is probably a bit more practical, especially for the flight poses. One extra bonus for the Avengers Endgame is they included these effects for both the arms and legs, which of course is an improvement to the original version, and they did not include any of this in the latest release either. But of course, for the latest The Marvels version, it does include these extra accessories, which is the long blaster effects for an extra attack mode, and they also included a stand to hold them up. In terms of the alternative head sculpts, the first Captain Marvel release included one with the helmet, which upgrades the look for the battle mode, which is swapped out with the neck as well, and the latest The Marvels version has one with the light up hairstyle and eyes, so only the Avengers Endgame one does not have the alternative head. And whilst we're at it, let's do a quick head swap between all 3 of them. So the first Captain Marvel release, I'm going to take out the standard head sculpt. And then we don't have the peg for this one, but I will place in the latest one, the Marvels. Of course, the better head sculpt on the original suit, which of course does upgrade the realism to it. And even though there isn't a peg, you can use some sort of blue tack. You can see that this does kind of give it a better look. Of course, the hair color is a lot more darker, but I do like this. And here I've also placed the alternative head sculpts from the latest one, the Marvels, on the first Captain Marvel release. Once again, no peg, but you can see the effect it gives it, and I really like this one. And we also have the ability to place the Avengers Endgame head sculpt onto the first suit, which I'm going to do now. And I do remove it with the neck piece as well, and it actually does sit on pretty well. And for a quick swap, let's place the original head sculpt from the first movie onto the Endgame version, again with the neck piece. And this does kind of switch up the look if you like the longer hairstyle. And we also can place the helmet version as well onto the Endgame version if you want. And here it is. And now we can test out the latest The Marvels head sculpt onto the Endgame version, which includes the neck piece. So it doesn't actually sit onto the peg, it doesn't click in, but you can kind of get an idea if you want it on the Endgame suit, which also looks pretty good. And this is the look of the alternative head sculpt from the Marvels onto the Endgame suit. Once again, it doesn't sit on, but you get the idea, and it really changes up your display. And here is one final look at the first Captain Marvel head sculpt on the latest suit, the Marvels. I had to place the neck piece in as well because it was difficult getting the peg out on this original head sculpt, so that was the only way I could work around it. And here is also the helmet version of the head sculpt and the neck from the first movie placed on the latest The Marvels suit. And here is the final head swap where I placed the Avengers Endgame version on the latest suit, the Marvels. Once again, I had to put the neck piece in as well, since the original The Marvel suit neck piece doesn't fit with this head sculpt. And one final accessory is the latest version, the Marvels, also includes the cat Goose, which is a great bonus as we don't see that many pets in the SH Figuarts line. So now for my final verdict on the Captain Marvel SH Figuarts collection. All three of them are good representations for each of the movies. I do prefer the first one in terms of the suit. However, the Armor's head sculpt isn't the best, so you're better off using the helmet version. And of course, it has the least accessories. For the Avengers Endgame one, I do like it in terms of the improvements with the effects. However, it's probably the weakest out of all of them in terms of the suit, and it also doesn't have any alternative head sculpt, which would have been nice, especially for the final battle. As for the latest release, the Marvels is probably my favorite since it is the best head sculpt, the best proportions, and it has the most accessories. So if I had to rank them, I'll place in third place the Avengers Endgame and then the first solo movie version, and in first place, of course, it is the Marvels. But all three of them can be placed into different collections and displays, and of course they are important for each of them. If you haven't already, be sure to check the link in the description below for my review of the latest The Marvels SH Figuarts. And if you're interested in buying the product as well, I now have the affiliate program joined, so you can use the link in my description to also purchase the item. Stay tuned for more SH Figuarts news, reviews and collections, and bye for now.